First of all, I would like to thank the FINAX team who have worked hard to make it happen this evening, late in the evening, and Professor Kanagraj as the chairperson of finance, who has blessed their efforts. I thank Professor Vishwavallabh on two counts. One, he has made it possible that the event is held at this international center. Otherwise, the Dean's office was quite reluctant, but I have seen that Vallabhji had written a mail to Sanjay, and that had clinched the issue. Secondly, I thank Professor Vallabh on his second count, and that is, macroeconomist that he is, he has given a very good overview of the economic scenario today and what was expected of the budget. So that has made my task much easier. I will confine myself only to the contents of the Union Budget 2015-16, and I will make my appraisal of this budget. Now, I will test this budget on 3-4 parameters. One is growth test, another is fiscal test, third is your equity test, and fourth, I shall talk a little about the financial sector, what he has done for the financial sector, and finally, what he has done for the eastern, what the budget has done for the eastern region and Jharkhand state in particular. Growth, all of you will agree with me that growth can happen when infrastructure is developed. And so, lot of emphasis has been given on infrastructure in this budget. And I will, rate the budget on a scale of 10 for growth. I will accord the budget 6 marks out of 10. And for fiscal test, under fiscal test, I'll give only 1 out of 10. And equity, 2 out of 10. And for the eastern region, again 1 out of 10. So that is my appraisal of the budget. Now, regarding growth, you will agree that to facilitate economic growth, what is very important is infrastructure. Another thing which is important, and people talked about this, is ease of doing business. And all of you are aware that according to the survey made by World Bank on the ease of doing business, we are down below. Out of 187 countries, our rank is, I think, 142. So it is pitiably low. So what the budget has done for easing the scenario or the ecosystem for starting a business. In fact, Finance Minister has referred to this position, and he has said that some efforts will be made to ease the system of starting business. But I'll share with you my view as to how he has performed in this particular respect. Now, in regard to infrastructure, I find that the Finance Minister has done quite a lot. And in the last few budgets which I had studied, compared to those budgets, I think much more has been done so far as infrastructure development is concerned. Now, I have flagged, I think, 7 or 8 things which the budget has talked about. One is additional capital expenditure from budgetary sources to the tune of 70,000 crore. And these will come from the budget for development of infrastructure. Then, a National Investment and Infrastructure Fund is going to be set up. And this will be in the form of a trust, so that it can raise capital from outside also. Apart from the budgetary allocation of 20,000 crore, it can source funds from outside. And then it can invest as equity in infrastructure finance companies such as IRFC and NHP. So when it invests in equity of these infrastructure financing companies, the wherewithal available with these infrastructure financing company will go up manifold. So that is one thing which has been provided for in the budget. Third thing which I have flagged in this budget is permission to release tax-free infrastructure bonds for the projects in rail, road and irrigation sectors. So these will be reintroduced. These were there earlier, these have been stopped, but now these will again be issued by some of the companies. It has not been made clear whether this will be limited to public sector companies or it will be open to private sector companies also. But my hunch is that it will be available to private sector companies also. Going by the past experience, I think both public and private sector companies would be releasing these tax-free infrastructure bonds. But these should be related to only 3 areas which have been mentioned in the budget: rail, road and irrigation sectors. Fourth thing which is there, so in regard to infrastructure development, is that he has said that revamped PPP model would be put in place. And then fifth, establishment of the Atal Innovation Mission within NITI Aayog. National, what is that? NITI, what is the full form? In place of Planning Commission, it has come NITI Aayog, National Institution for Transformation of India, NITI Aayog. Now, within NITI Aayog, there will be Atal Innovation Mission. And this Atal Innovation Mission, you never know, maybe Ballabji, maybe Kanagraj Saab will be members, because they will rope in academics also, who have some idea about innovation. And I'm sure I'll not be there. So, only talented people would be there. So, this Atal Innovation Mission, and this would be allocated 150 crore rupees, and then, ports in the public sector, they will be encouraged to see, ports in the public sector, that ports are all in the form of trust, that. Now these ports will be allowed to corporatize themselves, and when they corporatize themselves, their financial, their ability to garner funds will go up. And all these ports, Minister had referred in the budget speech, that all these ports have large tract of land under them. So these lands can also be, more profitably utilized by the ports. And then finally, the seventh one, 5 new ultra mega power projects, each of 4,000 megawatt in the play and plug mode. These will be set up. And he has not mentioned within a period of 1 year or 5 years, but when it is announced in the budget speech and no time frame is indicated, it can be presumed that it is within 1 year. So if it is done within a year, this will be a great thing. So I give 6 marks out of 10 so far as growth is concerned. But these are all for development of infrastructure. And infrastructure, of course, contributes to growth. But ease of doing business, there not much has been done, except for this bankruptcy code. He has said that bankruptcy code 2015-16 would be introduced. So that is one thing which he has announced. Apart from that, nothing has been met, nothing substantive, nothing significant has been mentioned for making starting of business easier. Now, in regard to growth, infrastructure is important. The infrastructure has been emphasized. Ease of business, doing business is important. Nothing has been done on that scope. And agriculture is very important. Vallabhji has rightly pointed out that in an economy like India, though today the contribution of agriculture is less than 20%, still agriculture continues to be an important, strategically important sector of the Indian economy. So to facilitate growth, agriculture must be given, some kind of impetus. and he has paid lip service to agriculture. He has said, as Vallabhji had quoted his words, that agriculture is under stress. That is what he has said. But he has not mentioned anything substantive for development of agriculture, apart from, two things. He has said that attempt would be made to set up unified agricultural market. Now this has been the goal of Dr. Manmohan Singh also. But this couldn't be, implemented, acted upon. I only hope that this time the government would be able to realize, to ensure that this dream is, realized. And second thing in regard to agricultural sector, which is there in the budget, is about the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana. And some amount has been allocated for that. That is rupees 5,300 crore. This has been allocated for this Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana. And so far as small enterprises are concerned, when I teach you social banking or maybe development economics, I may have occasion to refer to this, that one of the reasons why the small sector, its growth is growth doesn't always happen, is that they sell their products sometimes to larger units, larger enterprises, and they get the payment with a lot of delay. And since they are small companies, not much of cushion is available with them. That is a big problem for them. So many administrative and legislative measures have been tried by the government, but these have not been of much avail. So this time, Finance Minister says that a trade receivable discount system will be introduced. It will be operated electronically, and these trade receivable receivables will be discounted electronically, which will help the small enterprises to get the cash immediately. Okay. So now this is something which has been done, and all these come under the category of growth. Now in regard to fiscal, I think I had rated it at, what 2 marks I had given out of 10? Fiscal, 1 I think I had given 1. Because in fiscal test, like Vallabhji had said, and that the FRBM target, it has been shifted. You know about the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, FRBM Act. This act was introduced in our country in 2003, and the operation of the act started in 2004. And within 5 years of the commencement of this act, the government was supposed to achieve 3% fiscal deficit vis-a-vis GDP and 0% revenue deficit vis-a-vis GDP. That was the original target enunciated under the FRBM Act 2003. But this couldn't happen within 2009. The Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee then said that extraordinary situations warrant extraordinary actions. That is what he had said. What was the extraordinary situation? That was the worldwide recession. So therefore, 2 things had happened because of this recession. One, the government's expenditure went up. And secondly, the tax receipts came down. So therefore, the fiscal deficit, went up. And we couldn't achieve the target within 2009, and it was pushed backward, and this time Finance Minister has again pushed it further. The achievement of target of the FRBM Act, which has been referred to by Professor Vallabh. Now, this time, you must have seen in the budget that the fiscal deficit is expected to be 3.9% of GDP. And what was the target for the previous year, 2014-15? That was 4.1%. So a marginal improvement has been, is expected. Then revenue deficit, it was 2.9%. Now it is estimated to be 2.8%. Primary deficit, 0.8% was there, and this time the government wants it to come down to 0.7%. And what is very significant to note here, people don't see this, there is a new ratio which has been introduced 5-6 years back, that is known as effective revenue deficit. What is this effective revenue deficit? the revenue expenditure minus revenue received gives you revenue deficit. Now, effective revenue deficit means that revenue expenditure, total revenue expenditure minus the expenditure or grant given for creation of assets. So that is deducted. So what remains is the revenue expenditure which can influence the effective revenue deficit. So that minus the revenue received. So this is going up. It was 1.6% 2014-15, and in 2015-16 Minister himself admits that this will go up to 2%. Why? Because the grant for capital assets, this is coming down this year. Now, then there are some inherent challenges which will also, hinder the achievement of fiscal targets, fiscal objectives. One is 7th pay commission, is around the corner. So a lot of expenditure will be made on that count. Then your gross tax revenue, as Ballabji had pointed out, gross tax revenue continues to be quite low. I just was calculating the gross tax revenue which will come to center before devolution to states. As a percentage of GDP, it works out to 10.3 or something %. Now, in case of China and in case of many other even developing countries, this tax to GDP ratio is much higher. And this is, I don't want to say further because Ballabji had explained it so lucidly that one of the reasons why the tax receipts are not very resilient in our country is that the tax net is very narrow. Not many people pay taxes. And this time, I'll say that this is retrogressive step. They have increased the service tax. That will help in fiscal management. Admittedly, that will help fiscal management. But service tax, being an indirect tax, that is regressive in nature. At least I, as a student of economics, would have been happy if I had seen that some efforts were made to put in place the direct tax code and to garner more funds by way of direct taxes rather than from indirect taxes. And but direct tax code, nothing has been said in the budget. Nothing substantive has been said in the budget. Now I go over to equity test. Here also, I don't rate the budget very highly. Only lip service has been paid to NREGA, but thank God some lip service has been given. And he has allocated 5,000 crore rupees additional for NREGA. But then, you remember what Prime Minister had said. Prime Minister had said that Nakami ka smarak. NREGA is previous government ki Nakami ka smarak hai. It's an epitome of the failure of the previous government. Iske बावजूद जो 5,000 crore has been allocated, that is a good thing. But my opinion is that NREGA, it may have some minus points, but NREGA has been one of the most robust measures which had contributed to the elevation of the economic status of the poorest in the country. So not much has been done for that scheme. And two important schemes. One is Backward Region Grant Fund, BRGF, and another is Rajiv Gandhi Panchayat Sashaktikarana Abhiyan. Now, under Rajiv Gandhi Panchayat Sashaktikarana Abhiyan, the panchayats are being provided training in use of computer and in other things. Now, these two programs will now be shifted from the center to the states. And only today or day before yesterday, I was reading in the papers that Ministry of Panchayati Raj, one senior officer, said to the pressman, and he said that don't quote me, that this will contribute to the death of both these schemes, because states will not recruit fresh people, etc., because they are always short of funds, etc. So these two programs will be shifted to back burner. Then regarding Mudra Bank, I am not gung-ho about this. As a former bank man, I think this will only give rise to more confusion. The minister says that this micro units development and refinance agency, Mudra, it will be a body which will engage itself in both refinance and regulation of microfinance institutions. So I'm not sure whether their financing or refinancing would be limited to MFIs or other financiers of micro and small enterprises. Because in the preface to this paragraph, he had talked about, I think, 5.77 crore small business units in the country. And in order to help them, this Mudra is being contemplated. And then he has allocated 20,000 crore, etc. Now, in this connection, I would like to remind you, you may recall Arjun Sen Gupta Committee. This was a commission, Arjun Sen Gupta Commission. It was appointed by the central government earlier, and the mandate before this was to identify how many people are there in the unorganized sector. And this commission had also recommended a similar banking institution, apart from NABARD and SIDBI, a refinancing body for this unorganized sector. Now, but this was not set up, and I think it was good that it was not set up. RBI, NABARD, SIDBI, all of them had opposed this, and government had heeded their advice, they had not. Now, this will give rise to confusion. Why? Because NABARD and SIDBI, what are they for? They are there for providing refinance to, again, micro and small enterprises. SIDBI for, all micro and small enterprises across the country who are in the, not in the agricultural sector. And NABARD is for helping the small enterprises, the micro enterprises in the agricultural, in the rural sector only. Agriculture and non-farm activities in rural sector. But these two institutions are there. What was the necessity for another one? Let NABARD and SIDBI be revamped. But government in their collective wisdom, they have decided to set up Mudra Bank. Let us see how it fares. Now, regarding equity, PM Suraksha Bima Yojana has been contemplated, under which premium of only rupees 12 per year will have to be paid by the prospective beneficiary, and they will get an accidental death insurance cover of rupees 2 lakh. Then second, these are all good things. And then Atal Pension Yojana, but this will, I am afraid not many poor people will be able to participate in this. Here, a defined pension dependent on the contribution and duration will be given. And then PM Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. See, first Yojana is PM Suraksha Bima Yojana. This is only for accidental death. And the third one, which I have referred to, PM Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, it covers both natural and accidental death risk. And here, the premium amount would be 330 rupees per year for the age group of 18 to 50. And Minister has been very intelligent. He has said 330 rupees per year means less than 1 rupee a day. And he is right there. And then he had talked about a senior citizens welfare fund. Now this welfare fund will be created not out of any budgetary allocation, but out of what? Out of, this unclaimed amounts of rupees 3,000 crore which are lying under PPF and rupees 6,000 crore unclaimed amount in the EPF corpus. Now this has given rise to, this has stirred hornet's nest. Many people are opposing this. Legal luminaries and trade unions, they are opposing this. And Minister has said that 10.5 crore senior citizens are there, they will benefit out of this. And for the weaker sections, some amounts have been indicated. For SCs, 30,851 crore, ST 19,980 crore, women 79,258 crore, and for minority laws. Let us give credit to the government for this. 3,738 crore have been allocated for the minorities, and for the minorities another new scheme has been introduced, and that is क्या नामंजिल क्या नाम है उसका कि वो मैं भूल गया उसका if those who couldn't complete the class 10 up to class 10 belonging to not skill is there, but for minorities, for them they will be given financial support to complete their education, at least up to matriculation. And then financial sector, if you can put it under financial sector, monetizing gold is a good scheme, but I don't know whether the ladies will accept this. And this one is one of the measures envisaged under this is creating sovereign coins with Ashok Chakra there.
Monetizing gets some more new gold.
Some more new gold index, and they can keep it in the bank, take loans against that. Again buy new one. Yeah, he knows Mrs. Kanagraj will not allow him, not stop him, not allow him to stop buying. So now coming to Eastern region. Now you know that for the last 5-6 years there was one scheme built in the budget, and that was revamping agriculture in the Eastern region. So, or they called it, I think, bringing of green revolution in the Eastern region. Second green revolution in the Eastern region, because Eastern region has not benefited from the first green revolution. So now no mention has been made about that. Now we in Jharkhand, we benefit on two counts. One is the royalty for coal bearing states, it will go up. So we bear a lot of coal here in Jharkhand, and we produce 80% of coking coal and more than 40% of other kinds of coal. So we will got our royalty will go up. And second is almost double, as Ballabji is saying. And Indian School of Mines, Dhanbad, where I go quite often, I am on their board also. Now this Indian School of Mines, they were trying to become IIT. This time Minister has said that this will be upgraded to IIT. So these are the two counts on which we benefit, Jharkhand benefits. Okay. And I conclude because Professor Kanagraj will have many more valuable things to say.